Might get a little bit of echo for a second here. Let's try that. Yeah, that should be okay. Alright. Looks good. Let's make sure whenever I mute this part that we're not getting echo, and there should be a little bit when I turn it back on now. Yep. Alright. We should be good to go. Marvelous. Alright, audio sounds good on my end. I should be able to hear things, no sweat. So how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to more of just, quite literally, a random casual playthrough of Radiant Dawn. For once, we're not doing anything crazy, nothing super impressive, but just felt like playing through the game. So I've got a fair bit of time. I do want to get a little bit of sleep in before I head to work. I did sleep last night, so we're good on that front. So I'll probably end sometime a pretty decent distance down the line. We're definitely going to get through the second part of the game today. I'm thinking if I play this all the way through, I'm going to split this up into 5 parts. So part 1 is its own part, part 2 will be its own part, part 4 will be its own part, and I'm going to split part 3 into 2 sections because part 3 is the longest part of the 4 by a very considerable margin. So I'll probably split that into halves. If you're watching this live, that shouldn't matter, but if you're watching on YouTube, that's how we're going to do that. So I'll probably look up how many chapters there are in part 3, just make sure I've got it correct, and we'll just split it as evenly down the middle as I can. But for now, let's go into part 2, which is good, because I actually kind of don't like part 3. Sorry. It's just, I don't know, it feels like the characters are just strong enough to feel insanely powerful, and at the same time also, like, stupid weak. It's a very weird dichotomy, honestly. I think pretty much what we're going to do here is Alencia can hold her own decently well. In later parts of the game, once she has a meaty and doesn't have that pathetic slim sword that she doesn't need. So I'll probably be giving most of the experience here to Marcia until Har comes in. I don't plan on using any of these characters long term, but since she'll be used in a couple of part 2 stages, it would make the most sense to try to give that experience to her. Speaking of her, here he is, otherwise known as Har. He can wreck house like this. Yeah, if you've not seen the game before, this dude's kind of insane with how strong he is, honestly. I can't get to her. He's not that great for endgame compared to Jill, because admittedly he cannot get as high of a resistance growth rate. But in, like, actual main story, yeah, on easy mode especially, he's pretty freaking busted. Pretty much the only thing he's got to worry about are the Thunder Mages, and once he class changes, his speed stat's going to be so high, and their accuracy's pretty low as is, that even they're not going to be able to really touch him. Marcy the Slim Sword and use Alencia for heals. Yeah, Alencia is like a pretty decent healer as well. And she does okay in offense. It's just the Slim Sword compared to the Immedi, which can quad attack instead of double and is stronger. Like, they're not even in the same league of being compared, honestly. Let's do that. Give the immediate. I can't. We just started. She doesn't have it. You don't get that until endgame, because I think she's only playable for the prologue and for endgame of part 2. Oh, well, she killed him anyway. Sometimes that happens. Alright, let's go get the boss. I did skip a pretty good line there of, like, Har says something like, I couldn't tell if you were corrupt or something else. Stupid was never in the question, though. Yeah, the boss is the only one that can, like, kind of damage Har. But, like, even then, he'd have to get hit, like, 3 times, and that just ain't gonna happen. Does she have a heal staff? She does. Just for the sake of saying that we did it. And unlike with Leonardo, cancel's actually on a unit that might get to activate it reasonably this time. So that's nice. I would have stuck that on him anyway. Cool. All done. I do like that for a prologue for chapter 2. It is a very easy one on easy. It feels like it's reasonable and normal, and it also feels like a chapter of, like, this could be a spot potentially where you might have put the game down for a bit and not come back to it for a while because it was the end of one of the acts of the game. And so as a result, they give you, like, a little bit of a practice run to push back into it, which I do appreciate. Plus, it is kind of cool to have, like, a flying units only stage. We don't get a lot of those in Fire Emblem. Oops, one too many. So she needs the javelin, but I don't think that's either of these. How dare you attack the insane berserker that is Nephany? Case in point. Dude, I don't know what steroids Nephany took between Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, but, like, wow, did they work. Man, let's go ahead and grab this. He's gonna be able to double with any of those, but that's fine. Oh, that's weird. I could have. Oh, it must be the other dude that has the antitoxin. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure she would steal from him first, but. The Chromia Knights of Terran was Geoffrey, Kieran, and Marcia. Yeah, Geoffrey and Kieran will do fine in the Royal Knights sections. I know Geoffrey's gone for a good chunk of the game by comparison to the rest. I have used all of the characters in the game multiple times before. Technically, I should have just gone after that mage, but I guess we'll see how much damage he does out of curiosity. Not much. I was expecting a little bit more than that. Since we got all those. Perfect. Yeah, if I remember about those 2 guards next to the boss, there's something weird about them. Like, that left one moves, but the right one doesn't for some reason, I think, is what it is. was about to say, heal up that poison, man. You gotta make sure to get Heather, for anybody watching on YouTube or live. You actually can miss getting her if all of the houses get ransacked or, you know, you grab the loot. Basically, there's no more houses. Eventually, she will leave the map, so you do have to remember to actually go and get her. As expected, is the traditional for Thebes. You probably want to keep one on you, but it's not going to be for any attacking. Alright, there's that. But yeah, the only one I expect to use long-term here is just Nephany. Nephany's insanely good. Braum is okay at what he does, but he's not going to be able to... Like, if I was taking one of the big knights into Finale, I would take Gautry, for sure. So who's got what here? I don't think I'm going to need any... like, insanely large heals on these characters, but I'm going to put Vulnerary on Heather, and then I'm going to switch over the Concoction to Braum simply because he's got more health overall. Let Nephany take that level. I'm kind of okay with taking my time here just to get weapon levels up. They're not too big a deal. Nephany's almost at S. Braum is at a respectable B. Heather, it's not going to matter, but just be absolutely sure. She had... yeah, I'm going to trade that Spectre card over. I think, and I could be wrong, we'll find out in a second, I think that's the only way you can damage this boss with Heather. I don't think she can do any damage otherwise. Or if she can, she'd have to use the dagger. Nope, she can't even do that. Yeah, she can do some damage with that, but it's not a lot. I'm gonna try to juke this guy. If he attacks Nephany again, then Nephany can activate Wrath. Nope, not quite. Alright. And that's why I did that. That's why I battle saved, because I have trust issues. But I only have trust issues because they've been proven to me in the past. Because trust me, I'm fully aware I could have gone with another character, but I wanted Nephany to get the experience. That was why I did that. There. Now he'll go after Braum. Nothing will happen. There. Strength and speed, very good. And skill, too. I skipped it, it only was on there for a split second, but I do find it funny that there's an archer down there. There is no archer in that map on easy mode. On normal and higher, there is, I think, exactly one. I just have to start as level 1, tier 2. Well, because she was only, like, level... very low-level soldier in Path of Radiance. It was, like, something in the single digits. I want to say somewhere between, like, 4 and 7. Like, pretty low. And so a lot of the units that were like that kind of start as tier 2 but level 1. Like Rolf was the same way. He started out as level 1 archer. He's level 1 sniper in this game. And since Shinnen already was a sniper in the first game, he's still a sniper in this game starting out, but he's at level 13 instead of level 1. Drop those. It's not too big a deal what you do in these chapters. Like, these are pretty inconsequential. For, like, how you do anything here. There's no shops. Like, literally, you can't use any of them, so no buying weapons, no selling weapons, no forging, no secret little items that are hidden away in the shop's extra stuff. None of that's here, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Chapter is basically going to be more of the same. It's going to be leveling up Braum and Nethany and literally nobody else. Heather all used to steal stuff. The Laguz units are in the back right there because some reinforcements pop up back there, so that's why they're there. See the True Blade. Oh, nice. I've used her before. Personally, I think she's probably the weakest True Blade in the game. For some reason, I just could not get her to do that well in this run. In Path of Radiance, she wasn't strong with physical weapons when I used her, but I gave her the rune sword, that magic-based sword that has the vampire effect on it, and she did phenomenal with that. So apparently her magic stat was pretty high up there. We get a double here with Nethany. You have to be a tiny bit careful here, if not to use her a little too much, because it is possible to have both her weapons break. And then she can't do anything, which is like, does suck in the sense of, yeah, you can't do anymore, but it's also because you kind of did too much, so, eh. They're out of range. Cool. Glad that archer just, like, stood there and just took it like a champ. I kind of just use Lucia when needed. That's about it. Something dumb here. Let's just keep Leanne there for the time being. You can also put her back with the other Laguz units so that people get a chance to double attack there too if needed. Yeah, it's still okay for now. I think next time we get a chance for Nethany in a chapter, she'll be able to actually go and get weapons, so we should be okay from that point on. Bad. There's an item I'll never use. Unless I just want to, like, use it because I don't have anything else to do with the character because I'm moving him forward. That's about the only reason I can think of. There we go. I'll take care of that. The mages are so pathetically weak in part 2. They just always die in one hit. I feel bad, especially about how much I talk about how much mages are like one of my favorite staple units. I think if you use them correctly, they're like one of the best units in the game. Which they are, it's just using them doesn't mean stick them in the middle of nowhere with no backup and just let them get mowed down. Maybe don't do that. Mages are not known for having extremely high defense, so if they get hit, they will probably take a lot of damage. Which means either don't let them get hit or have them have high enough speed where that does not become an issue. Alright, you don't drop that coin, you actually do have to steal it. There we go. Oops, I forgot to move Braum, but that's fine. I'm not sending Nephany all the way back there, and I don't really care too much if Lucia doesn't get that EXP. Yeah, there's that. There's that guy with the crossbow. Alright. So how's everybody doing? Hopefully you're all, if you celebrate it, you're getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'm use the Javelin just because I don't want to lower the Steel Great Lance's durability anymore right now. Who will I use this run? For Dawn Brigade, Nolan Edward. Aaron's semi-long term, but not super long term. I don't have him right in front of me is the big problem. We'll just say for part 2, long term Nephany for sure, Har for sure. Shorter term Braum, Geoffrey, Kieran. Those are the big ones that come to mind. Part 2 is also not very long, so there's less to pick from here. Nah, I don't really need the Discipline Scroll. The Secret Book, however, that I'm going to be picking up from the boss. I'm definitely going to grab that for sure. Okay, good. Right now with Nephany, the thing I want most is extra strength, because I know that's kind of the spot, at least at the very beginning, that she tends to struggle with, is not having enough strength to do high damage. How'd that miss? Because it's Fire Emblem. A couple turns here. Yoink. If you didn't bring Leanne over there, just keep the javelin equipped if you've got that set up, and the boss will attack Nephany, and she'll probably kill him in one round anyway. He might be the boss, but he is still a mage, and therefore his defense is probably not very good. Ta-da! Alright, is this the giant map with like a shitload of enemies on it? I think that's this one. Brave Lance, that's getting sent to the convoy. Yeah, the shop's got a fair bit of stuff here. Killing Edge, yes. Horslayer, yes. Hammer, yes. Pretty much everything in here that's not that pathetic steel longbow. They might have been good in actual history, but in this game, man, I can't get them to work for nothing. I'm just gonna start from pure scratch here. So let's use it the easiest way. Alright. I pretty much give him the Horslayer all the time in this because there's a bunch of horseback units in this fight. I think like a Steel Lance and a Javelin should be plenty. Kieran. There's not a lot of... There are some knights here, but not a lot. So I'm not going to keep the hammer on Kieran. I'll leave that for Braum. I think I'll just keep it simple with him, too. Just kind of a little bit of everything. I know Braum could use the Silver Axe, probably. He's pretty close to A rank, but that said, he probably can't double with it. Kieran's going to have a much higher chance to be able to actually double with that. This one's pretty easy. We don't need that longbow. Oops. I keep trying to go to a different menu, but I don't need to be doing that. Danvid. Iron Great Lance. Killer Lance. Do I want to give him Short Spear? I don't feel like I'm going to use him enough in this fight to justify that. I went way too far. Still Great Lance, Short Spear. Makalov. Slim Sword! Yeah, it makes sense to me. This pretty much just stays the same. You just give him a healing item since he doesn't have one and take away the coin because he doesn't need it. Yeah, I could leave Marcy with the Horslayer. I feel like she's probably okay with that. What do I have for options in here? If I can do that, I'll get rid of the Short Spear. I'd rather save that for Nephany. That said, I do feel like she probably is gonna... Well, yeah, she probably does need one more weapon. Worst case, I just give it to somebody else, too. I did want to give her a sword. Steel's probably fine. It's probably a bit bit too much for her, but that's okay. EXP, the ones I'm actually planning on using in some capacity other than basically nothing. Support shouldn't be any. And there we go. Half-Life 1 year anniversary. Nice. Oh, since it did come out, since last I played, I have played the Smurpaga remake. It is very good. It's very faithful to the original game. And I appreciate that a lot. The new music is very nice, and there is the option to keep the old music on if you don't like the new one. But the new ones are largely pretty good. There's only a few things I wish they'd kept, and they did change a couple of character names, which is a bit of a shame. Mac has like a completely different name now, the first boss. Alright, first things first. I don't need these idiots hogging my EXP, so we're going to send them down there. I'd rather go with the steel poleaxe first, since the accuracy on it is weaker, so if I have a good shot at getting people with it, then I would rather use it than one that's going to be a bit more accurate. Really, the only true key I have here is wanting to get Geoffrey theoretically up to his next class, just so if I do need him for Endgame Part 2, that he will be a tiny bit more useful in getting those extra buffs from the class change will help. Usually you don't need him, Alencia will do fine on her own, but every now and again it goes a bit sideways. I might actually switch that Killing Edge onto Marcia after I get the trio of Marcia, Astrid, and Makalov where I want them. I know Makalov does not exactly have the best luck stat in the world because, you know, he's a gambler who's hard on his luck, so it is fitting for the character. But that also means that he's not going to be getting a lot of crits with that Killing Edge, probably. But to be fair, he and Astrid are just kind of cleanup duty. They're the ones of, like, if someone slips through the cracks, they're kind of there, or they're there to do some chip damage to let somebody get full EXP from a kill they wouldn't otherwise get. Okay, wall that off. You. Good job, Kieran. I do wish the horseback units were a little bit more favored. Like, I do agree that, yeah, they were, I wouldn't say outright broken in Path of Radiance, but they definitely had a lot of advantages that other units just simply did not have. There was so many stages that favored high mobility characters, and as a result, it made the horseback units very good, but there's just, they have so many stages that they'll take penalties on in this game. Anything indoors, anything that they have to go across water, they can't do. They can't go up ledges. Like, the flying units, yeah, they can do that, but yeah, it's a lot hard. It's a lot harder to say, like, yeah, you should have like 4 or 5 horseback units. Now it's like, you could probably pass on those. Like, there are still some good ones, but if you chose not to use them, it wouldn't, like, completely cripple your gameplay on easy mode or anything like that. Just keep walking into the end of that lance, my dude. I almost said sword. Here. course, if you listen to the dialogue beforehand, I know we've been skipping it, but should you have listened to the dialogue beforehand, Karen even, like, mentions, like, man, these guys are terrible. Like, they're flopping around on their horses rather than riding them, you know, like an actual knight. Basically, they don't know what they're doing. But they are, story-wise, serving as a distraction while the rebellion goes after the castle itself, so that is also kind of the point. But it explains why the units are not very strong, and the Crimean Royal Knights can just kind of mow them down like they're nothing. The only ones that put up any decent fight are the ones that are actually up at the castle up here, but the ones beforehand, yeah, they're pretty dang weak. And just looking around, it is so nice to have my living room actually looking organized for once. I got a second bookshelf now, so for those that don't know, I do have a VR headset that I've been using a lot more frequently now, since about June, which is one of the reasons I've been streaming less. It's definitely not the only reason, but definitely getting better about socializing using VR for sure. But in the corner of my living space, I'm in the front right corner, so we're talking front left. Actually, no, let's take this one. So in the front left, I had several boxes just like full of junk, literally full of junk, and had 4 stacked, one on top of the other, just straight to the top. Not all the way to the top of the ceiling or anything, but pretty close, and that was where I put one of the base stations that could recognize where my headset was. And so, finally, I got around to cleaning all those out. I got it down from 4 boxes full of stuff down to just 1. So it's the stuff that I actually did want to keep that I might end up needing in the future. And move that into my storage, because I actually had the space for it, because I cleaned out a couple boxes in there, too. And replaced that with a bookshelf, so the bookshelf's got stuff in it, which means I got to take stuff off the other bookshelf, so that one's more organized, too. Can still obviously use the base station there, but yeah, it just looks like way cleaner and way more organized in here. If I stop for a break at the end of part 2, I'll probably take a picture and show it, because it looks really nice. There's only like a few small things that I still need to like figure out where to go or clean or remove or whatnot. But I do plan on getting one more smaller bookshelf to circumvent that problem. So from here, I mean, you don't really need both of those. But... oh, she can't use the Killing Edge. It's too powerful weapon. C, B, so she must be a C rank then, obviously. Well, I'll keep the sword on her, and maybe she'll end up being a B rank by the end of this. Or maybe not. She's almost an S for lances, though, so that's good. Alright, there we go. So yeah, now pretty much all I've got in my living room area that I immediately kind of want to remove is I've got my old chair that's pretty dang busted. That one I need to throw out. There's some stuff sitting in it, but that's nothing I couldn't just, like, move to another spot, or if once I've got the bookshelf, I can move it there. Which is the equipment we used to trade over Pokemon in our playthrough that Icarus and I did of Fire Red Leaf Green back in the day. I still have all that stuff. And then there's just an empty box. That I just need to throw out, honestly. I don't even know why it's sitting in there. There's nothing in that box. I'm like 90% sure there's nothing in that box. So that I could throw away. After that, I'd probably start cleaning up all the wires and stuff that is underneath my desk. At some point, I do want to get a new PC. I've got my old one sitting down here that I've had since either somewhere between the end of middle school and the start of high school. For those not in the know, I have long since graduated middle and high school and graduated university, and it's been a couple years since I graduated. It's been about 4 years since I graduated. So yeah, it's a little old now. doesn't really matter who I go after here. How's he get mobilized? 19. Alright, he's pretty close. If you're wondering how he's getting EXP so fast, he's got Paragon on, which doubles your experience gain. And that's why he's getting experience a lot faster. Part of it is, yes, I'm letting him get a lot of kills intentionally, but yeah, that's also the other thing of it. Story-wise, after Part 2 ends, once Alencia goes out to help with a different war that will start up in Part 3, he's left to look after the kingdom, and that's why he's not there for a really long time. You don't get him until basically the end of the game again. So he becomes, I wouldn't say useless, but like, he will take some training to catch back up, because at that point your units are almost maxed, and he's like barely at tier 3. I'm not going to attack that just yet. I'm going to heal. 90. Here. Perfect. I'm going to have to do a little bit better than that. As much as I don't plan on using Maklov, I actually would prefer he get the kill over Astrid, because he might actually be able to do a small amount of damage in endgame, but I'm not holding out much hope. I'd rather Kieran get that guy, so... Oh, right, I still need to heal him. Well, let's go here. Yeah, all the wires and whatnot that are underneath my desk, my old PC tower that we're not using on my laptop right now is there. I also do have another storage box that is supporting where my DVD VCR combo is that I used to use whenever I would do streaming / Let's Playing, but I don't really need that anymore. And then on top of that is actually currently the Wii and Wii U that we use for streaming right now. So ideally, I would probably move that box. I do want to keep like all that electronic part off the ground. I'd probably swap it out for one of the small little tables that I've got around here. Would likely make the most sense, and then I could have all the wires bundled up more effectively to where A, they're not a fire hazard, and B, they look nicer just underneath that, and then I've got room to actually use my feet underneath my desk. That said, I do kind of want to get a bigger desk, so I might end up trying to get like an L-shaped desk or something like that, but I feel like I would just want a slightly bigger desk than what I'm using here, which is just a card table, basically. The really nice thing that I've had as of late, I'm going to go to heal again just to get it back up to full. The really nice thing that I've had as of late, and I actually need to go and re-loop one of the things here. There we go. Is I actually have curtains in my living room now. I finally got around to, after living here for like 3 years, I finally got around to putting curtains in my living room. If you're asking why I didn't, it wasn't that I was too broke to, it's just that whenever I first started at the job I was at, I was spending like an insane amount of time there because of our idiot schedule at the time of being understaffed. Like, I was getting somewhere between 20 to 40 hours of overtime per paycheck when the average work week is 40 hours. So I was basically working like a job and a half time-wise, or getting pretty close to it anyway. And so I just didn't have time to use my living room for anything. I would come home, I would fall asleep, and I would wake up and I'd go back to work, and I would just repeat that ad infinitum for about 20 days until I got a day off, and that day was used for primarily running errands that I needed to run, you know, getting my car checked or oil changed or running for groceries, something like that. But now that I'm actually working like a reasonable amount of hours, it's like, oh, I have like the time for VR. What the hell is this guy doing down here? I actually have time for VR again and have time to stream again, that kind of thing. So now I actually have like proper blackout curtains in here. I replaced what I was using for curtains, which I had a blackout curtain and I used 2 beach towels because I didn't have a second one. I just took the blackout curtain I had with me when I moved, so I didn't have a second one. So I finally replaced those just the other day with another set. So I've actually got, like, full blackout curtains. I really just cannot get that guy with Kieran, huh? Alright, well, I'm gonna let him get a little bit of EXP from this. So I've got full blackout curtains now, which is really nice, because since I work overnight, I sleep during the day, so the blackout curtains are very much needed. Finally actually have a queen-size bed, bearing in mind I was a 6'1" guy who up until last year was using a twin to sleep on, which is not enough space at all. A queen is much better. So yeah, there's been a lot of house upgrades lately, or apartment upgrades, rather. It's been very, very nice. I know that sounds like an old man thing to say, but, like, you come to appreciate. When you live alone, it's kind of like, at first you're like, you get the enjoyment of living alone in the sense of, like, if I put something down and I come back, it's still going to be there. Like, there's not going to be any noise. There might be noise from my neighbors, but there's not going to be noise from, like, anybody directly in my living area. People aren't going to be moving stuff around. You know, like, people only chat whenever either I'm chatting them directly or indirectly on VR or something, or if I invite them over, but otherwise there's no other additional sound coming around. And so you just get, like, all the perks of living alone. But then once you've lived alone for long enough, it's like, okay, now I actually get to start molding this into the area that I want to. You kind of get that freedom with your having, like, a room when you're younger. But now you've got, like, a bathroom to freely do with what you want. You've got a kitchen to freely do with what you want. Hey, Makalov got a level. Now his luck stat's actually decent, 20. That's not horrible. It's not great, or it's not, you know, off the charts or anything, but 20's okay. I'm curious to see what that guy's going to do when he actually gets up to, like, a decent amount of health, so I'm just going to leave him there for the time being. There we go. Another level for Astrid. Give her another one. Why not? For anybody that used her in Path of Radiance because you thought she was good, because she was back then, hate to disappoint you. She's not very good in this game. See what this guy's gonna do. Gonna keep hanging out till he gets to full. Now that he's at half, yeah, he's actually gonna go. All right. Yeah, it takes heavy investment. Like, she does take some investment in Path of Radiance, don't get me wrong, but, like, it starts showing a lot faster than it does here. I don't know who I would think is the worst Crimean Knight. That'd be hard to tell. Lowdown's actually got a pretty good crit rate on it. Not that it matters. Over here, it's just those guys that got reinforced. Yep, that's it. Okay. Alright, you can come down here and throw your little pixie stick at me here. It would be nice to get Kieran to Gold Knight, but you're probably not going to manage that until, like, that one chapter in Part 3 where you've got to stop the um, stop the buildings from getting burned down. So, not for a little ways, but you could probably get it there between bonus experience and him fighting that one. You could get him to Gold Knight if you wanted to. But I got him to Silver, which is the important thing that I wanted. I'll get that last guy in a second. Yep, that's it. Alright, cool. Done. Yeah, not too terribly hard of a chapter on easy. There's a lot of units, and so it looks like it could overwhelm you quickly, but the units are so dang weak. This stage, however, actually is probably one of the first ones, if you're playing Fire Emblem for the first time, that might be a little tricky, even on easy. Let's just roll this stuff around a little bit. There we go. I don't really use Leith. I don't really use Mordecai. I'm probably going to sell both of those and swap it out for a steel knife, since I usually keep her on a balcony to throw down stuff at other units. I'm going to kind of just take away stuff first, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. Don't really use lances on Har. He does fine with axes, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll keep the Spectre card on her just on the off chance, but I doubt it. Before we continue, very quickly, I am going to go and take a break, and then I'll take a picture of what my bookcase looks like, in case anyone's curious. But I will be right back. There it is. Alright, we are back, and there we go. That's what it looks like. I need to move that chair and that box, but other than that, it looks a lot nicer than it once did. I wish I had taken a before picture, but yeah, I love having the two bookcases. You can imagine having both bookcases, like the amount of stuff in both bookcases on one bookcase, and it just was not happening. But on that left one now, I've got Switch stuff on top, and the Wii U is in the top right. And then you've got a line for all my Wii stuff, got a line for the GameCube and 64 stuff, and then the bottom is just like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, mostly just controllers and the like. But yeah, it looks a lot nicer. I love how it looks. It is a nice change from how it once was. Also, let's not leave the base, because I was not done here. Okay. Let's just start from the beginning. You're set. I don't think I'm going to need any vulneraries on y'all, so I'm not going to bother. In fact, I'll do one better. I'll take all their weapons and stuff off. Brave Lance, Killer Lance, Short Spear, Javelin. Maybe just a regular one, and then I'll probably look at getting her one more thing. But we'll see. You don't really need that. I am going to give him the antitoxin because the spot I put him in, there's a lot of units with venom weapons, so he might get hit. Won't be enough to take him down, but would be good to have that. Hammer for sure. Killer Axe for sure. He's already got a Steel Axe, but I do want to give him a ranged weapon, so we'll go with Hand Axe. Roll those around. I do like the freedom of being able to have more healing items. Like, it doesn't have to be a 4-to-3 ratio or 4-to-4 ratio like it was in Path of Radiance, but I usually do like to keep the weapons on the top so they're easier to spot and see what you need. I'm going to give her just the Spectre card and the Vulnerary, and we're going to hop out here. That for one. Some of this excess stuff I just do not need. Here. I did say I wanted to get another weapon for Nephany, but I kind of want to get her another Steel Great Lance, not a Killer Lance. That's got 20 throws, and we did have one. I feel like that's going to be plenty for what we're doing. I really don't think she's going to be in actual close combat. The knife with throwing makes sense. I don't think it'll be enough to warrant buying a second one, and she definitely doesn't need a dagger. Alright, over here. You I definitely need to get more stuff for. First. The obvious. I do want to give Nephany that Steel Great Lance, so let's see how much money we've got left for axes. Thankfully, they're pretty cheap. Iron Pole Axe. Yeah, that could work. What do we have for selling? There's probably some junk in here I don't really need. That I just didn't catch the first time. That, for example. These aren't going to matter at all, but we'll put them in there anyway, just for the heck of it. Probably not even going to actually take them in the fight. I'll probably just remove them completely. Alright. Endgame Part 2. Yeah, I'm just gonna go take him out here. We'll go there. Nephany will go over here, and pretty much everybody else will just be on this wall up here until it's time to move them forward. Basically, we'll have somebody blocking here, which will probably be Braum or Nephany, and Har will be blocking here. And we'll clear out everybody that's left by that point, and then we'll move them down and start attacking on these lower sections. I do like this level quite a lot. This and the one that's in Part 3 where you have to play defense is something that kind of got removed from later Fire Emblems, oddly. There used to be a lot of stages like that, where it was just like survive for X amount of turns, just like defend, try to keep yourself with your risk versus reward. Of like, try to get experience by killing as many enemies as you can, but like, don't overdo it, because you will pay for it dearly. I loved the stages that were like that, but we really just don't get those much anymore. There. The other nice thing too is if you're worried about the guys with crossbows is you can just have Valencia fly down and kill them before they get a chance to do anything. So she can double attack with a meaty or midi and then just go back up the wall. This is like a good blend of defense and offense of like, if you can secure certain points, they basically can't get past those points once you've secured them. You don't have to secure them, you could literally just play defense for the 15 turns. It's like where Nephany's standing, like now nobody can get past that section and go up the right side. Khalil's on that wall that they just broke down, so they can't get up the wall. They broke it, but they can't get up there. And they'd have to get past Braum and the guy behind him in order to get up the left side. I don't think I've ever seen anybody come even remotely close to losing in terms of, like, the objective square getting caught. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. I'd be kind of impressed to know how you did it, unless you did it on purpose. Level 10. Not bad. I think she's close to capping. She capped at 26 or 8 for speed. Must be me. This is one of the few examples, too, that I'm kind of like, you can kind of just let the ally units do whatever they want. They don't always make the smartest calls in the world or anything, but they're not going to actively throw it for you. Since, again, all it takes is securing certain points, and then they will not physically be able to get past that unit unless they kill it. Which means at that point, like, if they want to run in the front line and get themselves killed, you know, they can do that. I will give props to the healers in this one, though. They're very good about healing you rather than your ally units. They will almost always target you first, unless somebody is in very critical danger and none of your characters are in really critical danger. That might be the only time that they won't target you for healing. first of all. Jeez, you got 40 experience for killing the guy. Just tempted to take out that crossbow guy, but I actually can't kill him right now, so... Movement does Stephanie have? Feels like she just lost a bunch. 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I guess. I felt like she could go one more square, but I guess not. Oh well, it's no big deal. Usually this kind of set right here will get in, but after they get in and you eliminate them all, you're pretty much okay. I have to wait before I send a flyer down there. This guy for the time being. If you wanted to, you could just like double attack with a meteor by using a combination of Khalil and Leanne, where she just fires one and then give her a second attack using the Galder. At this point, Har's got that area closed down. They're not going to be able to do anything. Sure, send in more reinforcements, see if I care. More experience fodder for me. Off chance I think we should be fine here, but in case it doesn't work. Can't get past that stairwell anymore. There goes the last guy that was up here. Which means now at this point, barring the fact that you gotta watch out for these longbow archers, you're pretty much good to send your units down here now. And if he dies, then that's one less person to get in my way. So, if he dies, he dies. See, like I said, healers will do fine. They brought it back to almost full anyway. I think the only people that are not going to serve, or that will survive the Wrath of Har in a single turn, are going to be the promoted knights. Will probably take just a little enough damage. The swordsmen, because they've got enough speed, and then the mages, since they'll be attacking from a range. But if I put on a hand axe, even that's not going to matter. Keep throwing them out there, boys. Keep throwing them out there. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to hand axe, and that healer's almost never a problem for me, but you know, force of habit. $36 damage. Oh no, that's enough to kill me. Shame his accuracy is literally 0. chance. I don't think they'll probably be the same as Marcy. They'll probably have like next to no chance to hit here, but just on the off chance. Man, I was really hoping that was going to connect. So let's try again. There we go. I put in lunch about 2 hours ago, and I can smell it right now in the oven. It is ready. And if you're thinking, what would take 2 hours to cook for that long? Baked potatoes. That's what would take 2 hours. 2 hours at 400 degrees. For any college-level kids or the like, needing to know simple recipes, baked potatoes. Literally just wash off the outside, put a little butter around them, wrap them up in tin foil, put them in the oven for 2 hours at 400 degrees. There you go. You're good. Cut them open and add whatever toppings you like. They're nice, they're simple, they're effective, and thankfully they're not too, at least not over here, they're not too terribly expensive. So. I did want to get more while I was out shopping earlier today, but I still had the 2 I put in there, and then I still have 2 more left after that, so I figured, I'll probably wait and get them when they're... I don't want to have them and then wait like a week before I start using them, because the bags that I get are a pretty decent size. Does have one more shot of meteor left, but I don't really think there's much I want to do with it, so we'll just throw it there and move on. Oh, got an energy drop. Sure, that's fine, I guess. Yeah, the big key with here is either healing with Valencia, but it's also not a bad idea to start taking out like some of these guys when you start to rush Ludwig, if you're going to do that. Which you're going to want to wait till the Royal Knights pop up for that in the first place, but... the point still stands that by doing that, you'll have less... You'll have fewer people... Ooh, nice, Nullify. We'll get rid of that. You'll have less people in the way whenever you're going to fly Lencia down there, which is always a nice addition. I think there's one more drop from the enemies down here. I know the Nullify skill is the big thing. There might be one more, but we'll find that out next turn. I'll do some poking around. If you did want to go full aggressive to try to kill the boss, you'd be more than fine just stalling where you are right here, too. Oh, there goes an ally. Well, he'll be fine. He died for his country, so naturally he'll be fine. And just keep getting me those levels, man. Keep going at it. Got anything down here? Do it this way so it's not as painful in the eyes for me flicking between units. Alright, yeah, I think we're good there. Archers, nope. these should both be unit types. I'll check on these guys real quick. 944. I was gonna say, like, neither of these unit types should be doing insanely high damage to Marcia, so... Is her biorhythm just low? Or is it... I guess it's just the weight penalty of... We'll keep her here for this turn and just take a little pot shot, and then we'll see what happens. So over here, like I said, we're gonna get these guys out. Believe it or not, you actually do enough movement with the, let's see if you've got her in the front to get these halberdiers out of here, too. Nice. Not bad. So now, see, now you got a more clear line. Like, there's still some enemies in the way. And I think one of them over here actually has something. Yeah, Draco Shield. But, like, good luck getting that. How in the world are you going to get Heather down there to steal that without getting your ass kicked? At this point, we'll just keep them here and essentially wait. They've done all the damage they can do, really, so... Now it's basically just going to be up to Har, Braum, Nefni, and Marcia to knock out the left and right sides as much as they can until the Knights show up. Which they should be doing in the next turn or two, because I think they do on, like, turn 8? So they probably will at the end of this turn, actually. Yep, there they are. Should have healed right there, but oh well, rip. Really hoping that crit would activate, but nope, I guess not. Nobody here's got any range. Let's go back to a stronger weapon here. Alright, meanwhile, down here... I always feel bad doing that. They put him in there in such a way that, like, he literally can't do anything on the first turn through no fault of his own. It's actually a good idea to leave that guy alive for Geoffrey. The reason why is for that. Silver Great Lance. That said, I'm actually going to put it in Convoy, because again, we won't get Geoffrey until like late into part 4. If you want to use it here, great, but just bear in mind, as one would expect from it being both a silver weapon and a Great Lance rather than a regular lance, accuracy on it's a little poor, one might say. There's the critical I was looking for last round. Okay, now you're just showing off. Yeah, they are still sending a few. Okay. keep it simple for Alencia's turn this time. I still need the knights to get into position before I do anything, so... we're gonna basically just dash these guys' hopes and dreams of being able to knock out Oma's finest. Oma being the place that Brahm and Nephany live, in case you were curious. I should probably let Brahm handle that. I don't know if he can get all the way down to those other guys, so... oh, a coin. That was the other... okay, well... I don't think I would have been losing sleep over that had I not gotten it, but thanks, I guess. That's not bad. Using anything higher than about 11 will be okay for Nephany in Part 3. It's one of the upsides of having her, too. She's got pretty good availability throughout the game. She's in a good chunk of Part 3, as is Har. So we're just in the position of making sure we put... most likely it's going to be Joffrey and Kieran in the front line of the Knights and just having everybody else behind it. And we'll set up a little bit more effectively next turn, and then we'll actually go in against Ludwig the following turn. Sometimes the allies will accidentally, or potentially on purpose, not sure, lure him over, and if they do that, then you kind of are forced to rush right then and there. But we'll see what happens. The big problem is they're not dying as quickly because they're not all attacking Har, because Har is obviously the worst target for them to go after of everybody they could reach. But just so we don't have to sit here through that animation as many times. Of course, 1 HP short. How much damage would you do if you connected? 26? Maybe I can get somebody else to get after him. Yeah, let's start over here first. I'm not going to move these two. It'll be just Danvid, who does okay. I don't expect him to, like, get annihilated or anything. Alfred's going to have to kill that mage because Kieran's accuracy's in the toilet again. But I'll bet, much like last game, he probably has, yep. Worst in Biorhythm, and then he's got Gamble. Or no, it's not Gamble I'm thinking of, it's Tempest. Boyd had that, but yeah, Biorhythm is terrible. That explains the bad accuracy. That and using axes, but that's a good use of one last hit on a weapon. Might be able to do actually is have Maklov get hit rather than get the critical that I was hoping for. It's going to do literally nothing. Wow, that is not great. Let's do this then. Nice, I'll take that. Since obviously the boss is going to run to the right, that's where all his opponents are, it makes sense to have Valencia go to the right as well. Yeah, by all means, guys, back off. I would prefer my own units to get this experience. Especially if you can't manage to kill the enemy you attack. Or that could happen, sure. Alright, so we're starting over. Awesome. I think I battle saved at one point during that chapter, actually. Yeah, remember how I said Mage is the only, or Thunder Mage is the only thing Har has to worry about? That's why. Alright, where was I on this? Probably like turn 4 or 5. That was a good guess. Probably wise to do that this turn. We'll just do this. Lunch is definitely calling this. I think after we finish this chapter, I'll probably stop for a bit and take a lunch break. I'll like actually end the stream proper since we're doing it in sections for YouTube. But we'll end it off there, and then potentially I'll come back and do the first half of part 3, depending on how I feel, or if other people want to go do other stuff. And if I do the second half of part 3, we'll talk about potential games I've been thinking about doing. Which will be just me, not like the Icarus Plays ones. I'm talking about ones that just I will play. I definitely do have a couple ideas for what I want her to have, want her to do next after Final Fantasy X is done, but we are still a little ways away on that, so we're not going to be doing the full post-game or anything like that. It will probably be just the main story. There might be some small stuff that I like show off. But we're not doing, like, full run of the arena or anything insane like that. Like, that ain't happening. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, can't do it. Probably is worth it to try to get that level up. Fire that guy right below her. How's Icarus gonna play this? She has played this before, or not this one before. She has played Path of Radiance. She's played a Fire Emblem game before. So she played Path of Radiance. The initial problem with doing Radiant Dawn was I wanted to transfer her save data over, and I knew very well the issue about not being able to transfer the save data over on an easy mode file. For those not in the know, if you try and trade over your save data from Path of Radiance, it gives you like a small little boost. You get to see some of the supports from the support conversations rather from Path of Radiance. It gives you small little boosts like that. But if you try to transfer data that has from your Path of Radiance file on your memory card, and you have any easy data in that memory card at all, it will crash the Wii. You can't transfer it over. So what I did is I went back and I watched her play through Path of Radiance, as in watching the video, not watching her play it a second time, to see which units she used. And I made a list of that. And then between that and knowing which units that I figured she would prefer and which she wouldn't prefer, I got all of the units that I could on that list to level 20 on a normal mode file. So I kept it as close as I possibly could. So she'll be able to use that transfer data and transfer that over from Path of Radiance into this game. I do still have that on the memory card. It's actually plugged into the Wii right now. So I do have that, so when we do Radiant Dawn, she will be able to transfer that data over. The data does not copy direct stats in most cases of characters. it's just like very small little boosts. So, and if a character doesn't have those, it's not going to make a character suffer. Like if I don't level up Kieran, for example, in Path of Radiance to 20, when I transfer that over to Radiant Dawn, he's going to have the same starting stats that he does in Radiant Dawn without any save data, so it doesn't give you any penalty or anything like that. But yeah, maybe we'll discuss that too. We'll discuss options for what Icarus does next. I've got like 4 or 5 ideas on the table. I've got one as a joke too, which could be kind of fun, like a nice little one-off thing that we could play. Nullify again. Gets everybody off the staircase. That guy ain't worth it. But yeah, Radiant Dawn is one of the ones that I'm considering. Ike, yep. Rolf, Soren, Oscar, Titania, Karen, Astrid, Shinnon, Mist, Leaf, who else? That's honestly a pretty good set. I think I narrowed it down, like, ultimately when I was going through, I was like, I want, like, 8 for sure that I can get to 20. If I can get more, great. But, like, there's a core 8 that I want. And I know there are a couple characters looking at that list even right now that I think are very good in Path of Radiance that are just not quite up to snuff in Radiant Dawn. 2 of them in particular, you can probably guess who. Yeah, Jill. Jill was in that list as well. There's the Royal Knights. Since they're here, and I got screwed over by that really unfortunate critical hit, let's go ahead and battle save so I don't have to do all that part again. That's kind of what I can do over there. That means I don't want them coming into it. Oh, Kieran actually did enough damage that time. I actually don't remember that. It's been such a long time since we did that playthrough. I honestly don't remember anymore. Nice, double crits. You don't see those very often from Astrid. The one thing I know that the data transfer doesn't do is it doesn't let you keep all your super OP weapons from Path of Radiance, so at the very least I won't have to worry about that being an issue. Oh, you throw all my items away, like, no, they're gone. How good is Astrid with transfers? I will say, even though I've used all the characters multiple times, I've never used all of the characters with transfer data, actually. I've only ever transferred my data over, like, twice, I think. I just don't do it very often. And it's usually because I have an easy mode file where I'm playing stuff like the coin flip runs that I've been doing on stream, so if I tried to, of course, it would crash the Wii. I imagine it wouldn't change the day inside too much, because most of the Dawn Brigade is not playable in Path of Radiance, so you would just get, like, Torneo, Zahark, Jill, but, like, Nolan, Edward, Micaiah, like, none of those characters would get any data transfer. It would just be, for the early ones, basically just Soph, Jill, Zahark, Torneo. It'd be those 4. Ileana as well. There are some characters, it's just like the core Dawn Brigade. No. Laura, no. Aaron, no. But pretty much everybody from that point on, largely, you have access to in Path of Radiance as well. That would be an interesting thing to try, but that also means that I'd have to be playing through Path of Radiance several additional times, and then also having to play through Radiant Dawn multiple additional times, so that might take a hot minute. Swap these over so that I can get past this guy. There we go. Use the staff to heal, but that's alright. Sure, why not? Less person in the way here. Man, I was really hoping Jalfair would have enough movement to just go and knock that mage out right now, but... oh well. I guess not. I wish there was a joke, and tragically it's not here. I know they used it in Path of Radiance too, about, like, Danvid having to, like, run twice as fast because he can't keep up with all the people around him that are on horseback, and as a result have higher mobility. I know they run that joke in Path of Radiance with Gotri because, you know, he's wearing, obviously, giant armor, which is a little hard to move around in, by comparison to, like, Shinnon, who's basically got minimal armor because he's, you know, a sniper and therefore needs to move quickly and dodge quickly. But it would still be funny. Oh well. Already exclusive characters don't get transferred. Yeah, they don't. I remember there being something weird with Khalil's because Largo is the only Path of Radiance character that's not available in Radiant Dawn. So I think, like, his transfers might also go to her if you get them both to 20, but I'm not completely sure about that. Largo was also never... I mean, like, I did use every character in Path of Radiance as well, but, like, in a normal run, I would never use Largo, ever. I would have Boyd at much too high level for him to even... like, they wouldn't even be in the same realm. Boyd would be much stronger in everything than he would be. Let's just do this. There we go. Well, that's one way to prevent yourself from getting hit by a venom weapon, I suppose. Yeah, Icarus did use Boyd. We just like to dunk on him because his character is very stupid, but... they mellowed him out big time in this game, which I actually kind of don't like the fact they did that. I kind of wish they hadn't, but... oh well, what are you gonna do, right? Alright, so from here... damn it, Kieran. Why you gotta do me like that? I just get a feeling it's gonna happen the second time. Okay, good. Can't. See, that's why I would prefer to have cancel on Har as opposed to Leonardo. It's not like the best skill in the game or anything, but like, there's definitely worse. Looking at you, Mercy. It's like, yeah, I know Mercy could technically be used to be like, oh, well, you could like butter up a unit for a really frail one to kill, but you don't get it till part 4. Like, your unit shouldn't be doing that by that point in the game. Like, the only units that you'd need to babysit in part 4, theoretically, are the ones that you only have access to in part 4. So characters like Peleus, ouch. That's gotta hurt. What turn are we on? 11? Yeah, we still got plenty of time to do our thing here. I'm gonna move Braum into a spot where Nefne can reach. That, I guess. Solely on the fact that it's only got 3 left, I'll trade it back over. Alright, that's that side taken care of. There's basically nothing going on up here anymore. Yeah, back to the way it was. That looks about right. Yeah, there we go. As for down here... tiny bit too frail. Oh, nice. Oh, I always forget he has that. Because like I said, you're probably only going to have him as a Silver Knight for this chapter alone, and then you're not going to get him for, like, a while. There. I guess just for the hell of it, why not? Because I want to try to get those ally units to go stupidly wake up the boss. These guys, but we'll just move them a little bit closer, and that should be good. Yep, they're gonna go do a dumb. Though I do appreciate them killing the healer, so he's not gonna get a chance to heal Ludwig, or however you pronounce his name, Ludwig. I don't remember if the D or the V is first in his name. Yep, saw that one coming. So it is Ludwig. Got it. Well, that was a stupid thing to do, but okay. I appreciate the level. Alright, so basically we're gonna... Since he didn't actually move physically... He attacked, but he didn't move. We're gonna have to put one person inside of that bubble. He's got an okay defense, so we'll do that. Really much care what goes on down here since the fight's about to end, but skill, res, all max. Not bad. I just need the defense and strength. I don't care about magic that much, and luck could always be higher, but it's not high on my priority list. There's only ever, like, at least between Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, there's only ever 2 characters that I've been genuinely concerned of, like, their luck stat is too low. And if you know the story behind both Soren and Stefan, you know why their luck is just naturally low like that. It's supposed to be. There is a reason for it. Yeah, he might actually die. Yep, he did. Good thing we saved. Danvid, you were supposed to not block every single attack with your face, my dude. That's still not as bad RNG as Har getting critical by that Thunder Mage last time, though. That was definitely worse between the two. What did I do here? Did I just heal, I guess? Well, no, I already healed, so that can't be it. Where did I leave this off? What was I doing? Ah, that's what I did. Okay, I battle saved before I attacked that guy. Once I saw the cancel, then I remembered what it was. This chapter's not actually that hard, by the way. I'm just being very bad at what I'm doing. Like, the critical one might not have entirely been my fault. Like, sometimes a 2% critical just happens, and you just get screwed over. The Danvid one, yeah, I could have played that better. Oh, thank you. Appreciate the help. Depending on how many of the allied knights get in the way here, I might try to set this up a little bit differently. Oh yeah, again, I'm going to be talking about this if I do the first half of part 3 later. Just thinking about, like, oh, games that I want to play. We need to finish XD, by the way, like Pokemon XD. Well, I would say I have not forgotten that, but clearly I did. Just now anyway, but yeah, no, the thought's been on my mind for ages. Alright, left side's taken care of, top side, nothing really needs to happen here right now. Weapon level up. Space farther intentionally. I do want him intentionally in that LOS for the boss. I'm gonna keep Larry, Moe, and Curly over here. Who would be Moe? I guess based on the haircut, he should be Moe, but based on his personality, he should absolutely be Curly. If you don't know what that's from, congratulations, you're very young. And if you haven't seen it, you should go and watch Three Stooges. It's very good. Like, some of the stuff in terms of, like, you know, politics and whatnot, obviously does not hold up, but also it's very old, so it was a very different time. But the slapstick still very much holds up. It's still, like, top tier. Alright, there we go. That's a much better spot for the boss. Thoughts on the new Yu-Gi-Oh series? Oh, they're doing another one? Oh my god. No, I've heard nothing of it. I stopped watching after GX ended, so it's been a hot minute since I've watched Yu-Gi-Oh. At least anything new from Yu-Gi-Oh. I've rewatched the original in GX a couple times. There we go. There's that critical I was looking for last time. Alright, I think we're pretty much just good to go and attack him, really. Hi! Ooh, now I get to finish him off with Har, but before we do that, there's experience to be had for other units. Yeah, you get that 1 health back, Geoffrey. You don't take that crap from him. Also, in case you're curious as to why I'm calling him Geoffrey and not Jeffrey, or Jeffrey, there is voice acting in some of the cutscenes where they're telling you about what's going on in the story, and they do pronounce it Geoffrey. So canonically, yes, it is Geoffrey. Even though it just looks like an older way that you would spell Jeffrey, it actually is pronounced Geoffrey. It's Sir Ike and the Gurmurks. Ermagerd. Let this play. Let me go check my phone, because I think somebody sent me a message I actually need to respond to.
Land asunder. A hero sides with the Lagoons and justice. The Maiden of Dawn fights for the Bjork and Dayan. Their armies will collide, while the flames of the medallion burn brighter. Part 3, Intersecting Vows.
Alright, I'm back. It was a good thing I checked that, actually. It was not important to me directly, but one of my coworkers was double-checking on the schedule today. For the record, we work with kids, and so we have our schedule based on, like, making sure that we leave before they get up and they start getting ready to go to school, but because this week is Thanksgiving week and they've got the week off, we're on our weekend schedule for the entire week, so they just wanted to double-check and make sure that they were supposed to come in at 10 o'clock, not 9, and leave at 7, not 6, and both of those things were correct, but it was good that I double-checked with that. To let them know. Because Teams has been a little not working well. It's been a little fire trucky. It's been a word that starts with F and ends with Y. A little fire trucky. Yeah, not too terribly helpful. I'm actually going to reset now that we just saved that for part 3. And what we're quickly going to do is we're going to end the stream and hop back over to part 3 in a second. But I am also curious, now that I'm thinking about it, do we want to switch over to Pokemon XD? Because I kind of do want to play it right now. Kind of do have the urge to play XD. So if there's any preferences between doing the first half of part 3 or going to Pokemon XD, do let me know. For the record, that would mean we are doing... How many chapters are in part 3? 15. Wow, that's a lot. That's including the prologue as a stage and the endgame as a stage, which both of those are actually pretty long fights. A lot of these are pretty long fights. So that means if there's 15, we would be going from prologue to 3-7. Now I'm really leaning towards XD after seeing that. It would be all of the Grail Mercenary stages at the beginning, the first Dawn Brigade stage, and then the stage after that would be the last one we would end with. Technically, we could also only go to 3-6 as well, because that would be 7 stages. It's going to have to be 8 and 7 or 7 and 8. It can't be split evenly, is what I'm saying. So it'd either be 3-6 for 7 stages, because again, prologue counts as a stage, or 3-7 for 8 stages. But yeah, for reference's sake, we just did 5 stages. Part 1 has 11 stages, which are a lot faster because they're the opening stages of the game. And Part 4 has technically 7, but I'm going to say 11, because I would count all the parts of the endgame as separate stages. Because it's got prologue and then 1 through 5, so that's 6. And then endgame 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's actually only 10. So yeah. Yeah, part 3 is a lot longer than parts 1, 2, and 4. Or no, I was right. That is 11. Because, yeah, prologue and then 1 through 5, that's 6. I counted that wrong in my hand for some reason. I'm not smart. So, yeah. I am thinking of going over to XD. I think I still have my notes about that somewhere on what we had left to do. I think. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I was looking for it on my desktop and I couldn't find it, so I searched it in the search bar and I was like, no, it's on your desktop, and then I immediately found it right after I did it. Great job, me. Okay, so this is what we have left. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to switch over to XD. I think we'll do part 3 another time. This feels like something that I'd have more ability to stop whenever I wanted to stop, rather than having it more formatted and organized. So if I'm going into work at 10, which is it's just under 6 hours from now, and I do probably want to get like at least a small nap in beforehand, just in case, it'd be a lot easier to stop in XD than it would be in this game. I'm not sure, because, like, if we just did 5 stages and that took 2 hours, which granted, a couple of those mess-ups, like, put us back, but we would double that to 4, that would put me at 8. And that's if I don't make any mistakes, and that's if I get through the levels as quickly, but I know for a fact the Part 3 levels are longer, yeah. I think doing XD makes more sense. And I do have something else to show off picture-wise as well, speaking of Pokemon, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to XD. In fact, I'm going to get up and change the CD, and then I'll just go ahead and mess with all the settings while we're on stream. Because why not? Now's your chance to ask me anything. Almost anything, anyway. I will not be giving you my social security number. Sorry. And then while we're doing XD, I'll talk about, like, stuff I've been thinking about streaming, but, like, either can't do or haven't gotten around to yet. Stuff like that. Now that streaming is more of a possibility once again. You wouldn't be able to tell by that picture that I took and showed on stream initially, but all of my games are organized now by initially series, so think Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, whatever, but then also alphabetically as well. So it's a lot easier to just immediately, like, just swing through and be like, yep, there it is, perfect. Much easier to figure out what I'm doing from there. Alright. Alright, I will end the stream just long enough for this to cut, and then I'll switch the game title over, and then we'll get started on XD here. So I will see you guys in probably about 60 seconds, give or take.